Welcome back to another episode of The Naked Turner. After a very long hiatus, I've been unable to really turn for the last 7, almost 8 weeks with no turning. Very challenging, but my body just wasn't able to do it. I had a cellulitis infection in my left elbow that swole my elbow up real bad. The swelling is finally down. There's still a little bit of tenderness right in the joint, but very, very little. And my youngest daughter happened to give me this piece of a pen blank, which is some black and white resin, and it looks like some kind of some small twigs in it. I'm not sure what kind of wood it is. Maybe it's like a holly or something. Anyway, it's a light wood. Anyway, I'm going to do a light turn of a pen for her. She asked me to make her something, so I'm going to take and make a relatively skinny, slimline pen for her and see how it turns out. I've never turned any of these types of inclusion blanks where they have inclusions of wood or something else inside of them. So it'll be a new experience for me. It'll be one where I'm finally getting back to turning after almost 8 weeks of not having turned anything. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. Thank you for sticking with me. I will be trying to do some new video very soon, and hopefully this is the beginning of that. All right, so I've got these this one piece, what was one piece, cut into 2 halves. I'm now going to stick it in my spigot jaws here and turn 2 holes through them. What I like to do when I'm turning holes for a pen is I start my holes from where the joint is. So when I'm drilling, I'll be drilling from those 2 ends. And that way, when I put those 2 pieces back together, those 2 start points of those holes will hopefully be more accurate, line up better, and be more true to that edge that fits nice and tightly jointed together. You can make this cut here numerous ways. I happen to have a chop saw, so I cut it on the chop saw. But if you had a good little Japanese saw and made yourself a little squared miter box, you could cut yourself these little pieces real easily. Okay, so I'm turning here right up around 1,000 RPM. I'm using my brad point drill bit, and my quill is snugged but loose enough to advance. Nice and slow with this, since I've never done any of this wood acrylic blend. Okay, so now what I do is I have this oriented this way. That way I know this is the end I don't want to trim any of. That way my joint lines up with as little missing in the figured pattern as possible. I'll be trimming this end and this end. That way, like I said, this middle joint will remain having the same or as close to the same relationship to itself as before I cut it. So now I'm going to put some CA glue on this brass tube, which I have abraded slightly, and then I will insert into both halves, allow that to dry. Then these 2 blanks will get mounted up on my pen mandrel here on the lathe. So I'm going to do the gluing now. I won't bore you with that part, but just wanted to show you that trick about leaving the center joint together and trimming your 2 trim ends. So then once they're gluing, I flip them on the 2 ends that will be touching each other to make sure that my 2 brass tubes stay as close to those 2 ends. And there you can see I have about 1/8 of an inch on each of these to trim off. All right, got my safety gear and everything's locked off. A little pressure and looking good. All right, I'm spinning up here around 2,600 or 2,700 RPM. Very gradual cut. Looks like there'll be some spots to watch out for. There's lots of splits and cracks and a little hole here that I hadn't noticed. I have right here. It's a funny little spot right here where it's soft and hard. All right, some sanding. I won't bore you with the sanding part here. I'll show a little bit of the sanding because there are a few people who enjoy the sanding, but anyway, that thing's ready, almost ready for a little finish. Okay, that's your 320. Now, I'll just do some more step sanding, probably up to about 1500 grit, and then I'll put some finish on. All right, so now I'm spinning around right around 600 RPM, and I'm applying thin CA glue. Numerous coats. of thin CA. And I'll build up layer after layer after layer, and then sand away, or buff away actually, and get this to a really nice gloss finish. So like I said, I'll be putting on probably another 10 or so coats of CA glue before I'm happy with the finish on this, and then I will show you some images of the finished product. Tip, I take some wet dry paper and put some Yorkshire grit on it, and the Yorkshire grit and the wet dry paper work really nicely to abrade this CA glue down to a nice surface that I can then buff up. All right, I just wanted to show you I made my own pen press here for my lathe. It makes it really easy to put these pieces together. Just lock off your lathe, bring in your tailstock, get everything centered. It's holding it there. Then I just make sure everything's straight and aligned, back it off a little, boom, press.
Hey, Grandpa.
Yes?
There's food.
Oh, thanks. I'll be right in. I'm just trying to make Zena's pen. Anyway.
There's some sandwiches and it's a bagel.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I'll be right in there. Anyway, makes it real easy to press these parts together. That's the first part. It sounds like breakfast, well, brunch, I should say, is ready. And okay, so now I'm going to press on the next piece here. Center it up. There we go. And press it in. That's all there is to it. All right, this looks like it's going to be a nice looking pen for my youngest child. And like I said, I'll show you some pictures of the finished piece. Thanks for watching a new episode of The Naked Turner. I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, or if you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, share, comment, give me some creative criticism, or just drop me a line and say, hey, nice job. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And this was a real fun project to return to wood turning on. Once I am finished with the project, I'll shoot some pictures out there at the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks again for watching and continuing to support The Naked Turner on YouTube.